Hey guys, Akil here, Forex trader and trading coach over at tier1trading.com, and welcome to another episode of the Trading Coach Podcast. I have a very special episode for you today as I'm going to share another one of our accountability sessions. Now, these accountability sessions not only have been super popular on our platform, but you guys have given me feedback that they are some of your favorite podcast episodes as well. And I'll tell you what, there are a lot of podcasters out there that do a lot of interviews, whether it's in the trading space or outside the trading space. But most of the time, these interviews are done with professionals, those that have already been successful. And don't get me wrong, I think there's great value in that. I enjoy being interviewed. I enjoy giving the chance to kind of share my story and journey and help other traders that way. And I know I've been helped by listening to other traders' interviews as well. But I think there's something special about getting a chance to hear from someone that is in the same position as you, getting a chance to hear someone that not only has done it, but they're doing it right now. They're in the trenches, and it's very powerful because you can relate to it. And when you can relate to it, you become inspired, you become motivated. And sometimes that's the extra push that you need to keep going on in the right direction. Now, today's interview is especially special to me because I can relate to this trader on a few different levels. One, this trader is a former professional athlete. Unfortunately, she had a setback, but she's now searching for financial independence through Forex trading. She has some pretty cool goals, long-term goals, which is awesome to see. We have so many traders, we hear from so many traders out there on the internet that have short-term goals. What can I do to be a millionaire in a month? What can I do to double my account in 2 months? This trader is saying, hey, I just want to get started by 2020. If I can achieve some type of very short-term, very small financial independence by 2021, that would be perfect. This trader is also autistic, which, if you guys know my background, one of the most beneficial times of my life was working with children that had autism. I did that as soon as I graduated college while I was working a few odd jobs, and it just gave me a completely different perspective on life. I was never informed of what autism was. I was never educated on it. And like many of you guys, I passed judgment the same way someone that was undereducated would. But by working with different people that were on the spectrum, my respect has grown for them. And I see them, I see people that are on the spectrum for who they really are. They're not necessarily less than anyone else. Maybe they're a little bit different in one area. They can also be substantially better in other areas. I remember one of the kids that I worked with, he had this great talent where he basically had like a photogenic memory. He was a big math guy, but his thing was Legos, and I would buy him these big Lego sets, like thousands of pieces, and I'd be like, hey, we're going to make it a day-long project to put it together. Let's look at the instructions, go one by one, right? And he's like, no, Mr. Stokes, just move, right? And I'd be like, all right. And he would stare at the back of the Lego set, right? Stare at the finished product. Stare at it for about 5 minutes, right? Just not speaking anything. And then boom, he can put it together, all 1,000 of those pieces, piece by piece, in the exact right way without reading a single word of instructions. And that was incredible. And listening to the interview I'm about to share with you, this trader is very similar, right? Out for perfection, a very analytical brain, loves backtesting, loves crunching the numbers and creating Excel spreadsheets, and loves kind of taking the information on the chart and trying to find the best way to analyze it, trade it, make it better. And it's just, there's nothing but success in this trader's future. So that's a long-winded introduction, but again, I'm very passionate about this episode. It touched me very deeply. And without further ado, I'll go ahead and get it to you guys.
Well, welcome, Sarah. Thanks for coming on. Yeah.
It's the first time you've been on, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm really, really scared.
Excellent. So just tell us a little bit about who you are and what you was up to before you found Tier 1 and what your life looks like aside from trading.
Yeah, so I live in Oregon, USA. Um, I'm I actually just turned 31 this week, so that's
Happy
exciting, I
birthday.
guess. Thanks. Um, and I don't know, recently, I guess this year has just really been like a year of growth for me. Um, I was a professional athlete long ago, and then a lot of things happened, and I ended up getting really sick a few years ago, and even like January of this year, I couldn't even walk or really get out of bed, and so um, now I can lift weights and do a lot of things. So that's kind of been what I've been working on, and um, I'm also autistic, so just trying to find something that I can do to sort of support myself and get some financial independence. That's where the Forex trading thing came in.
Cool.
Um, and I think that's something that I have a lot of potential in and is actually sustainable for me. So that's pretty exciting. I only really heard of Forex about September of this year, um, and then found tier one about a month later. So I'm pretty new, um, but it's been good so far. Yeah,
Excellent. So September this year, did you say?
yeah.
Cool. And how did you stumble across trading? How did you get into that whole funnel towards Forex trading?
I actually think about that recently because I don't really know. I was doing a little bit of just stock trading with Robinhood.
Right.
Um, and I think I just started doing some Google searching and stumbled across Forex and TradingView. And then from there, just I'm really big into computers and researching. So I'm sure just saw your name at some point somewhere and looked it up and was like, oh my gosh, this is the answer.
Oh,
So
wow. Did you find any?
ever since.
The only reason I asked that question is because I just wondered what you was exposed to on the way into learning to trade forex, because there's obviously a lot of mis misinformation.
Yeah. Well, I think luckily I wasn't exposed to too much, and I'm pretty good at weeding out the BS.
Right.
Um, so I actually haven't, I've been trading with a very, very small actual money account since the beginning, and I actually haven't lost any money. So I think it was luck and a blessing that I found tier one so soon. Um,
Sure.
yeah,
Well,
I'm not
at
exposed to
least you
too
know
much
it was
bad
luck.
stuff.
At least you know it was luck.
Yes.
that's
Yes.
that's the most, yeah, that's the most important thing. I had a guy message me earlier saying, how quickly can you turn 2 grand into 10 grand? And I said, that's a pretty impossible question to answer. And I said, if you're talking to me personally, I said all I can do is give you averages. And I said, think about it. How long does it take you to double your account? And he said, I don't know. And I said, well, think about that. And he said, thanks for taking time to respond. I'm going to see if I can do it in 2 months. I'll keep you posted.
I
And
look forward to seeing that that
yeah,
journey.
and I said it is possible, but it's also gambling. It's not trading. If you were trading, you would know how long it's likely to take. And
Yeah.
my heart bleeds for these people because they've been led up the garden path, and it's not quite like that. So it's good that you're not naive. You don't sound like a naive person, and you've been a bit lucky if you haven't lost money, not knowing what you're doing
Yeah.
entirely. But how have you found it so far then? Where did you start? Have you gone all in? Have you started this sort of taking it seriously as a learning progression?
Yes. Really completely all in. Um, Up until this point, just because of my combination of like my autism and my physical health, I've had many doctors tell me that it's not really possible for me to ever support myself.
Yeah.
And that is just something that I don't accept.
No. So
Um,
that's a driver
and
for you, right?
so, and so I think, I've tried so many things and failed, and I feel like for the first time, this is really something that I can do. I can just sit in a room alone by myself and collect data, and I just, you know, I'm in a situation right now that is not the best, and this is kind of like my hope for ever getting out of that.
Oh, that's such a
And
great
so
attitude. You
I'm
know,
all in.
yeah, no, that's awesome. It's so good to hear. I mean, we don't. You can only deal with the card you've been dealt, right? You can't change the card you're dealt. You have to deal with what you got, and that's very very inspiring to hear that you're going for it.
Thanks. And I just have to say, like, this group is so inspiring to me, and I feel so honored to be able to talk to you today and to be around all these people that are just going for it and have that growth mindset. And it's just been so big for me. I mean, I've been in the groups and listening to videos and the courses, like, I mean, 14, 15, 16 hours a day. So it's, it's amazing.
That's so good to hear. I always tell people, that when people come to us and they say, "Can I buy your course?" I say, "It's not a course. It's a lot more than just a course. It
Yeah,
truly is a self-development program. You've got a network which is what I don't think people. I think people underestimate the value of a solid network, a network of like-minded people, and it
absolutely.
does. It just keeps you up. It pushes you up. It doesn't. There's nowhere. If you're down, you don't stay down long. Or if you're down, you've got other people in the same situation, and you can work through those problems together, and it's just so empowering.
Yeah, I don't understand people when they try to put a price on what you've got here. I mean, just the live rooms alone,
Yep.
like I stay up in the middle of the night to be a part of that. It's just so therapeutic and positive and frankly priceless. I mean,
Yeah,
what are people
yeah.
thinking?
Right. And it is. I agree 100% with you. The price, you can't put a price on it, and it is all dependent on how much it has an impact on your life, right? So that's relative
Yeah.
to what impact it has on your life, how much you value that impact, and how much
Mhm.
time it saves you or how much money it saves you. So in the long run.
Yep, I
Okay.
agree.
All right. So what are you up to inside the platform? You're attending the live rooms in the middle of the night. Are you working on reading prize action? You going through the foundation, or have you done any of that stuff?
So I'm actually, so I've gone through the foundation. What's the second one? I've gone through the first, second, and third ones. Almost all of the mastery one, but I've kind of like gone through and then started going through again to see what I really want to focus on, what jumps out at me. I mean, it all makes total sense, and I'm not really struggling with the material. Um, and I'm kind of I've started back testing just a few things. I did 2 pairs of cipher in one time frame, and that went really well. Um, and I've just started back testing my own version of FTB, kind of just
Yep.
a much more broad version than you have, so I can
Yep.
collect as much data as possible and
Perfect.
see if there's different times that work for me, and if I could even add in longs and all that stuff. So actually, that's really enjoyable to me. So I wanted to kind of start poking around with back testing as soon as I could, and I'm
Yeah.
really liking that so far.
Excellent. And you've got an analytical brain, you say.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, I would be sitting on the couch doing Excel sheets anyways, so I might as well be productive with it.
Yeah, excellent. You sound like someone else I know in the community. So, have you been engaged in the chat? Have you been speaking to people?
I've been doing a little bit of chat. I mean, communication can be a little difficult for me sometimes, so I
Mm-hmm.
am getting in gradually. I don't know. I'm still not totally comfortable, but I'm getting there more and more, I guess.
Good. Okay. Well, you've come on and done this session. I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, I was freaked out about it, so I knew I just needed to get it done and just do it.
Sure.
So here I
Excellent.
am.
Excellent. So, what's your back testing? Have you got any plans on when you want to get that finished? Are you going to start? Is there any date in your head that you want to start trading that, or are you taking it as it comes?
So I would like to have sort of just a beginner portfolio put together, I guess, by January. Not like an end goal portfolio or anything, but just something really simple to start with. Um, and then kind of have like my big portfolio that I'm really, really happy with done January 2020.
Wow.
Uh,
Really
so
realistic. Really realistic.
yeah, I mean, I think I can put together a couple pairs and a couple of, strategies that work for me in the next couple of months, and then really, really, I know it's a never-ending
Yeah.
journey with
Sure.
a portfolio, but I think for me that's realistic, especially because I'm putting just like so many hours in every day. I think I've already done, close to 200 hours of back testing, so
Wow.
yeah.
Amazing. So that's really realistic. I mean, that's a great goal to have, and it's well doable. As you say, it's always evolving, it's always moving. One of the things I said the other
Yeah.
day, I said the reason that we teach the way we teach, like, so if we take the FTB for example, when we teach the FTB, I sort of taught it I went through all my test results and I made some tweaks and I made some changes and I sort of got it to a level where it was just profitable. So it was just profitable, but it was right more than it was wrong. And
Yeah.
we teach you that, and then we say, right, now bear this in mind, bear that in mind, because it doesn't make sense for us to just say you have to trade it this way. You want to get a middle ground, and then you want to say, if you bear this in mind or bear that in mind when you're testing, some of you might like a bigger reward to risk. Some of you might be happy with a lower strike rate, and it's really going to be up to you to develop. And the reason we do that is because we're always developing as well. So as you come into the live rooms, like now, I'm trading flags and wedges, whereas last year I wasn't trading flags and wedges. So I had a comment from someone saying, "Oh, I don't remember you trading flags and wedges when I was in your live room," and that's because I didn't. That's because I didn't. But because I'm always evolving, it's important that you guys understand how it's developed so you can develop it for yourself and you're not reliant upon us, because you're going to see us change. I'm going to change as a trader. I'm always going to keep changing and changing. So it's important you understand the process behind the system and the strategy and tweaking that to make it yours.
Totally. No, that's something that I just absolutely love about Forex trading is just all of the little filters and factors that I can change and
Yep.
make a difference in my future. I mean, at the same time, it's kind of overwhelming and infuriating, but
Yeah.
I think for me, just finding that balance of, not needing perfection and how good is good enough, somewhere in between there.
It's great, isn't it?
And finding what's right for me. Yeah, it's just, I mean, I love it.
Yeah, so do I. So do I. I think Naomi was struggling with this earlier on in the week. She was getting a bit overwhelmed with how much stuff to test, and
Yeah.
now she's going for it. But it's like that point where you need to sort of settle, and then you need to progress, and then you can pivot later on. You can have another idea or inject something later on, but you just need to get going. It's a bit of a chicken and egg type deal.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I kind of started backtesting maybe a little early because I knew there was just some things I needed to muddle through and find like my style and just start just plunge in and
Yep.
figure it out. And I think that was a good choice. I mean, I think that might be one of the biggest things that I'm struggling right now is not needing perfection because I can just sit down and, my mind can just see all of the millions of combinations of ways to tweak things,
Yeah. Yeah.
But I just have to kind of like step back and not overcomplicate it,
Yep.
and just start somewhere. So
That's it.
that's kind of what I'm working through right
But
now, I
the
guess.
most important thing and the most in your favor is that you understand that, because most people think that you've got this thing that you get given and then that's it. You just go into the hills and you're gonna live off the profits. It's just
Oh my God.
literally just understanding what you've just said is the most important thing. Understanding that it is all on you. It is all on you. You've got to develop it. So how do we teach people how to become profitable? Well, we teach them how the system is built, how things to look for, how price moves and rules that you can create. And then once you've got that, then you can start to develop your own system.
Yeah, you're right. There's no shortcut. You just have to put in those hours. I mean, there's no
Yeah.
getting around it.
So is there anything you're struggling with at the moment? Like, is there anything you're not understanding, or you seem very, very logically minded and, you seem like you're really going for it. Is there anything that you're struggling with? Like, not just technicals, maybe time or support or anything?
So besides the backtesting filter thing, I mean, I guess for me, one of my biggest struggles currently is maintaining my physical health while I'm doing this.
Right.
Since I just kind of tend to like dive in and go 110%, finding out, I almost every day I'm just sitting down and I'm backtesting and I look up and it's hours later and I haven't eaten and I haven't even like gotten up to my computer or anything, and I kind of need to figure out a good schedule that works for me and what my sleep is looking like, because so much happens during my nighttime. I usually sleep from about midnight to 10, and midnight is when your live room starts. So everything is going on while I'm sleeping, and so I've been staying awake.
Wow. Wow.
And so for me, with my physical health, what it is, that's not sustainable for me, and I just have to figure out how to kind of step back and be a little bit more reasonable about it, and remember to feed myself and all of that. So I think that's kind of my biggest struggle right now.
You said you're from Oregon, right?
Yeah.
What's the time difference there then? What's the time there now?
So right now it's 6 in the morning, and I usually sleep for about 4 more hours.
Right.
So.
Wow. Yeah, that's a difficult one. That is a difficult one. I would say you definitely need a calendar. I'm very much the same. Like when I started trading, it was when I become profitable. I just got really fat. Like I got out of shape, and I became a really good guitarist as well, because I just plowed loads of time into guitar. But there was no balance. It was just like, I'm going to eat all the time and I'm going to play guitar all the time and trade, and that was it. It was like...
That's funny. I'm the opposite. I totally forget to do anything else, and I don't feed myself, so I need to kind of like, remember that. And before this, with my autistic mind, I had like a completely crazy schedule, and I had alarms like every 15 minutes telling me what to do, and like everything was totally organized, and now I've thrown this in and everything is just completely messed up, and I need to go through and decide what I want to do about it. So.
Yeah. But you've been enjoying the live rooms, you said.
Oh my gosh, I'm loving it, and it's so worth it to me to stay up late, and I wish I lived in London or something,
Excellent. That's really good. we have some great chats in the live room, you know, and I think one of the key things to take home from the live room is that it's not just about trading. It's just the realistic. It's the realisms of trading. It is what it's like. It's just sometimes there's a lot going on, sometimes there's nothing going on, and it's important that you guys see that, because as you're coming through, it's going to get to a point where you're not doing as much testing as you were doing. You're not doing as much research or tuning or looking at pairs, and then all of a sudden it's like, bang! It's going to take you 10 minutes to get through your portfolio, and you really will have a lot of time. And it's important that you have in your head that this is normal, because what you don't want to do is then start trying to force trades or, you know, break your rules.
Yeah, well, I think the fact that I kind of started with a small money account, like that's one of the reasons why I did that, because I knew I needed to sort of like break that wall of my emotions and just get used to holding a losing trade and all of that. And so now, since I've been doing that, I mean, not very long at all in the big scheme of things, but I'm not really excited to take trades anymore, I guess. It's kind of worn off. And so I think that's helped me kind of not be tempted to overtrade or
it's great
things like that.
It's great. It's better to do it when you can control the bleeding, or the bleeding isn't severe, right? So you've just gone in small. You've tested the water, and it's money you can afford to lose, I take it. It's not like going to be life-changing. So, I mean, that's absolutely fine. So is there, you're not really struggling with anything other than your home routine. Is there any questions that anyone's got for Sarah? And Sarah, if there's anything that you've learnt so far that you could pass advice on to anyone that's literally just starting. So imagine Sarah starting in September. Anything that you could, any advice you could offer just to sort of bypass anything that you thought before that wasn't quite as you expected, or anything you've learned?
So I actually wrote down a list of some of the things that I did struggle with, and
Excellent.
I think I've worked through. One of the things is definitely shiny object syndrome is very real. That was something that I really struggled with, and I think just that kind of goes along with my need for perfection. It's like, so I would start on one thing, and then if I couldn't get it absolutely perfect, I was like, oh my gosh, this is a failure. I need to try something new.
Yep.
So I think just being okay with not being perfect and knowing that, hey, this is pretty good here, what I've got here. You know, this testing result is good enough, and I should stick with it and keep tweaking it. And like you said, you know, polish what I've got instead of trying to move on to the next thing. That has really helped me. And then what else? Oh, I'm also, I mean, it's kind of related, but I really fall into the analysis paralysis thing. And that kind of goes along with, you know, being a perfectionist. So just doing it, just not waiting for it to be perfect again, just going for it. And
sounds like you're sounds like you're reeling off my 10 trader common problems series.
Well, I mean, they're common for a reason. Right?
Exactly. Yeah. No, it's true. A shiny object is definitely a real thing. Naomi says, record Jason's lives, maybe. Yeah, that's true. You can. I don't know if you've heard of Camtasia, but it's a bit of software that you can use to record the screen.
So can I record when I'm like not? I have been recording them.
Oh, okay.
But can I record when I'm not there? Is that?
Yeah, I'm not sure if there is a timer feature. That's a very good question. I don't know. But if there isn't, there should be.
Okay. Oh, there's a couple questions.
Yeah, there's some questions here. How can we help you the best? What are your needs? So
I was thinking about that, and Honestly, I don't think there's anything specific to me that I really need. I guess just keep doing what you're doing. That's already so helpful and amazing. Just the community staying how it is, and um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, no,
I mean, there's been
that's
a
great.
couple people that have kind of checked in a little bit and, like given me encouragement before this session, and that was really helpful. So I don't know, just stuff like that. I guess it's mostly just my issues are mostly just in my head,
Oh
things that
yeah.
I need to work through on my own, and nothing that people can do for me. So
No, no. No, that's really
yeah,
great. Mike says, no question but deep respect that you're overcoming setbacks. Inspiration for me, that's for sure. Yeah, same, Mike.
thanks,
I feel the
Mike.
same.
Thank you.
Is there anything you want to achieve by the end of this year? I think you said you wanted to have tested a couple of pairs in the next couple of months. Is that right?
Yeah, so I have a list of my formal goals here if you want me to read them
Yeah, sure.
or
That would be perfect.
okay, so I by December, in like a month or so, I want
Hmm.
to have figured out my actual like full daily schedule, something that's sustainable, and decide exactly when I want to trade, when I want to back test, and all that.
Yep.
Um, and then by January, like I said, I want to have my back tested kind of starter portfolio.
Yep.
Um, and then also kind of get a handle on what my trading personality is, like my risk tolerance and what I want for my risk reward threshold.
Hmm.
What types of trading and strategies that I gravitate towards most and kind of have more of a strength in, like I think advanced patterns is something that I'm going to really like and do well in. Um, and then also just kind of what CTS pieces are most important to me.
Yep.
Um, Kind of figuring those out by January. Um, and then by January 2020, I want to have that bigger, more in-depth portfolio. I put down here, put together a kick-ass back-tested portfolio.
Sounds good.
Um, and then, I want to be a CPT, but like I guess kind of a baby CPT. I don't have any thoughts of being like having huge profits by that point, but just being profitable, even if it's a little bit.
Yep.
Um,
But
and then by January 2021, this is kind of a big crazy one, but
yep.
I'd like to be financially independent, able to support myself. And to me, that's not a lot of money.
No.
I don't want to have like, I don't want to be rich at that point or anything. I just would like to be able, if I had the option to
Cover your
live on
living
my own.
expenses. Yeah, cover your living expenses and not rely on a job, a partner, parent, spouse, geographical location.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. That's really really great. I mean, 2021, setting goals for 2021. Excellent. That's really really good. So
Yeah.
you by sort of the end of the year, you're looking to have your sort of routine part of your trade plan done, and then into next year, early next year, you want to have the what you've back tested, and you want to have find that sweet spot of you're right more than you're wrong, or wrong more than you're right, depending on the profits and the risk reward and the overall profitability,
Yeah.
and you want to be trading that. And then towards the end of the year, early next year, that's when you want to be sort of consistently profitable once you've put it all together. And then you want to just keep building on that and building on that until 2021 when you aim to become financially independent. I think that's just a really, really realistic goal.
Yeah.
Especially speaking to you,
And
especially speaking to you and knowing your mindset and your motivations.
yeah, I mean, I see Gabby saying down here the last one is not realistic, and I might agree. I just had to put down a date,
Hmm.
and I mean, at this point, I don't really know what I don't know for some things, and so I don't know how long that will take. I don't even know. There's so many things I don't know, so I just try to put it down,
Yeah.
put it out there, and adjust from there, you know?
Yep. No, totally. You know, that is the big goal. No one knows the exact date for a big goal, but the point is you put a date on it, and then as you get nearer to it, have you made progress? If the answer is yes, then that's a win. If you haven't, then that's not working towards the goal.
Yep.
Really, really good. I've enjoyed talking to you, Sarah. Gregory says, how long have you been trading? Only since September, Gregory. If you've got any questions for Sarah after this video, you can put them in the comments section underneath the video in the archive. And if you're brand new, make sure that you go and check out the archive, because just like Sarah, you know, there's going to be people, I know people similar to Sarah. I think I think Gabrielle's very similar to Sarah. I think there's lots of people are going to have a lot in common when they go and connect and they go and find out the stories behind the traders, and they can help each other, and it's really, really great. So thanks for coming on, Sarah. Is there anything else you'd like to say or add?
Well, I guess I'll just say thank you, and like I said, it's an honor to be here talking to you, and it's just priceless, and I think this is going to change my life.